Patrick J. Ammendolia was a 4-year regular and 3-year starter after being recruited by Alumni Hall of Fame coach Rick McCarthy. One of the nation's and region's premier long-stick midfielders, the Acton, Massachusetts native was named to the USILA Division III All-America and NELA All-New England teams in each of his final 2 seasons, alongside classmate and 2019 Alumni Hall of Famer Mark DiGiovanni. As the team leader in ground balls as a senior tri-captain, Pat was additionally recognized as a first-team All-New England pick by the ECAC and named to the NELA East-West Senior All-Star Game. With Pat, Eastern was 54-12 overall and 31-1 in conference play, including 24-0 in conference regular season action, qualified for 4 straight postseason tournaments, and never lost a match at home. Pat played on the team's final ECAC and first 3 NCAA tournament qualifiers. Pat appeared in 65 of a possible 66 matches in 4 years. After coming off the bench as a freshman defenseman, Pat was a fixture in the starting lineup at long stick midfield in each of his final 3 seasons. On teams which dominated regional competition during his career, Pat played at least 1 season with all 5 current Alumni Hall of Famers. Patrick ranks 6th all-time in career ground balls, holding 2 of the program's top 18 and 3 of the top 30 season ground ball totals.
Hello, my name is John Rubano, and it is an honor for me to serve as presenter for Pat Ammendolia for his induction into the Eastern Connecticut State University Athletics Alumni Hall of Fame. Without question, Pat is the best long-stick midfielder ever to play lacrosse at Eastern. In the fall of 1999, when Patty A, or as I call him, young Patrick, arrived in Willimantic for his freshman campaign, the starting team was comprised of mostly seniors and a couple of juniors, and it would not be easy for an underclassman to break into the lineup. As a senior captain in Pat's freshman year, it only took me and the team about 5 minutes into our first fall practice for us to realize that Patty A was the real deal. The Acton-Boxborough High School football and lacrosse standout had the full package from day one, a combination of lightning speed, toughness, and great takeaway checks. Young Patrick was a ground ball machine who combined that with strong stick skills and a high lacrosse IQ. He was poised to not only crack into the starting lineup the following spring, but would be a big contributor on what can be argued as the best team in Eastern lacrosse history. Like me and the rest of that 2000 squad, Pat found his way to Eastern via coach Rick McCarthy. As a high school lacrosse All-America and a Boston Globe all-scholastic multi-sport athlete, Pat was being heavily recruited by Quinnipiac, Gettysburg, and Western New England, but chose Eastern. Cut from the same blue-collar culture as the rest of the team, Pat was a great fit as an Eastern lacrosse player. He went on to be a team captain, leading the team to multiple NCAA tournament berths, 4 unbeaten conference championships, and was recognized twice in his career as a Division III All-America. After graduating, Pat's passion to lead and win has only grown. He has gone on to follow in his father's footsteps as a physical education teacher and as an elite coach. Since 2008, Pat has served as head lacrosse coach at his high school alma mater, Acton-Boxborough, where he has been inducted into the school's Hall of Fame in 2009. Since becoming Acton's head coach in 2008, the team has won over 200 games, 6 county championships, and a state championship in one of the most competitive lacrosse states in the U.S. Young Patrick has been recognized 4 times as County Coach of the Year and as the Boston Globe State High School Coach of the Year in 2014. In addition to the joy Pat receives from watching his student athletes go on to great heights, he enjoys nothing more than receiving a call from Coach McCarthy after a big game, providing a nostalgic reminder of the role that Coach McCarthy, his teammates, and Eastern played in his success. Pat is a proud husband to his wife Courtney, father to his son Jackson, son to his always supportive parents Ann and Tony, brother Nick, sister-in-law Kathleen, and his niece and nephew Georgia and Dylan.
When I heard Pat Ammendolia was being inducted into the ECSU Athletic Hall of Fame, I was happy, excited, and felt it was well-deserved.
It's great to see a guy that didn't exactly have the stats that maybe an offensive player had get recognized
I do remember meeting Pat for the very first time when he came on the campus, and it was one of those where as a freshman he was able to move into the dorms with others, and me and one of the other guys went around and were like, let's go introduce ourselves to the freshman class of lacrosse players that are coming in. And I remember going to Pat's room, and it was him and another gentleman named Chad West, and both of them had long poles with all their gear hanging off of it. And, wanting to protect my own position, I said, geez, I wonder what coach is bringing in here talent-wise. And good news was that I was playing close defense, and he was going to be at the midfield. And when I saw him get on the midfield and how quick he was, I said, whew, glad he's not playing close defense. When I saw Patty play on the field for one of the first times, my first reaction was, wow, this guy is fast. And he had the skills and the field sense and awareness and knew where to be. And always made great defensive plays and worked well with the team, which is a good part of it.
I think what made Pat such a good player is he was not only tenacious and, kind of never gave the ball carrier a break when he was playing you, but also, like, if you got that step on him, that didn't really matter. He had that great trail check, and he also could, had the speed to make up that distance that he might have lost on a step.
I got to play with Pat for 2 years. It was my junior and senior year, so his freshman and sophomore year. And even over those 2 years, I saw him grow as a player. When he came in, probably with most people, a little more timid, but once again had that aggressiveness. But I would say his skills got even more refined that second year, where he was able to calculate what the other team's offensive players might be thinking or wanting to do and be able to tee them up with, as we say, appropriately, so he could take that ball away or keep them from scoring.
Somewhere along the line, somebody had written a newspaper article about Pat that we all got our hands on. So Pat was affectionately known as Press for quite a while. We kind of never let him forget it, but once he got on the field, we realized quickly that he earned that press.
Off the field, Patty A had definitely a very calm, relaxing demeanor, and no one would know how aggressive he could get when he was on that field. And he would bring it to the other team players, and he would make them work if they were going to try and get around him.
Coach McCarthy always hyped up the new guys coming in, but Pat was one of the few guys that really lived up to the hype. It's amazing to see a freshman come in and make that kind of impact.
As a future coach, Pat definitely had the mindset. For him to go back to his hometown and take on that responsibility of coaching his high school team with that challenge to bring them to the state title and get it done was something that I would say not unexpected, but once again, a great, pleasant surprise.
At this time, it gives me great pleasure to present as a 2021 inductee to the Eastern Connecticut State University Athletics Alumni Hall of Fame, Patrick J. Ammendolia.